Hey everybody, this is Jimmy. Welcome back to the Jimmy Tingle Show. Today we have a spokesperson for the no on question one ballot question, folks, because we want to give both sides of the issue so we have a well-informed and enlightened audience. And I know you already are, but we're going to even enlighten you further. Please welcome to the show the one and only Mr. Dan Cence. He is the spokesperson for the No on Question One Coalition. Hello, Dan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Jimmy. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the time.
It's our pleasure. So, Dan, first of all, just tell us basically what is the Fair Share Amendment?
Sure. It's a constitutional amendment. It would actually change our Constitution as it was written by John Adams a couple hundred years ago that would impart a tax onto people, changing our flat income tax to a graduated one for income over $1 million, and would raise it by 80%. So from 5% to 9%, Jim.
It'll raise the tax from 5% to 90%?
To 9. So it'll be an 80% increase. It goes up
Okay.
4 percentage points, but from 5 up to 9 on all income over $1 million.
For income over $1 million. So if somebody makes $1.1 million,
Yep.
they would be charged 4% on the extra $100,000 over the $1 million, correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
In a very
Okay.
simple sense.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
It's 4% on the tax over $1 million of income. So Dan, roughly how many people would be affected by this tax of over $1 million, 4% over $1 million?
Yeah, it's tough to say, Jimmy. It would be tens of thousands of people each year, and it would increase each year. I will tell you that half the people, 50.5%, right? A little more than half the people captured by it each year, it would be the only time in their life they would pay it. 77% of the people captured by it, it'll only happen to them twice. People who sell a home, people who sell a small business, people who sell a farm. The Massachusetts Farm Bureau stands with us in opposition to this because it captures all of your income in one major event. So you may not make, your job may not generate $1 million a year. You may be someone retiring. You may be somebody from Cambridge who sells their house. And that one time, you're going to pay 80% more tax on that income that year. We don't believe that's fair.
Well, it wouldn't be 80% more tax. It would be 4% over $1 million of income.
That'd be 80% more than you're paying today. Yeah, because it's 5 goes up to 9. That's the 9 over 5 is 80% higher on that money over. Yeah.
Or on that money over. Okay,
Yeah.
but it's not like people are getting don't tell me I'm going to get taxed 80%, am I, if I sell my house?
No, not 80%.
Now, the proponents are saying that as I said, I interviewed one of the yes on question ones yesterday, and they were saying it's about 20,000 people they were estimating in the state that would be eligible for the tax. It's like 0.06% or something, less than 1% of the people. But the reason they want to do it, according to them, is they want more money for transportation and for education. Now, do you think that's a valid need, or do you think this is a well-intentioned effort?
Without question, it's well-intended. We need investment in transportation. We need spending on education. No question about that. Those are noble endeavors, Jimmy. I'm someone that travels down the turnpike every day to try to get to work. And, some days it takes me 2 hours to go 20 miles. So I see the need for it. Unfortunately, this measure will not guarantee to increase spending at all in either of those two tranches. It was brought before the Supreme Judicial Court in 2018 when the language actually intended to increase spending. It was thrown out as unconstitutional. There's a line in there that says subject to appropriation. And that's how our legislature works. That's how our Constitution works, is that the legislature decides the level of spending, and then the administration spends that money. And we can't, from a ballot question standpoint, increase any of that funding. So the money will go to education. It will go to transportation. But then the other monies that were already set aside to be appropriated there will go back into the general fund, and they can be appropriated as the legislature sees fit. And we had a $5 billion surplus this year, Jimmy. We got $2.94 billion being returned to the taxpayers of Massachusetts this year. We got $10 billion coming from the federal government in an infrastructure bill. We're sixth in spending on education per pupil in the nation and third in standardized test score. It's not a question of funding in education. It's more a question of equity and how we deal with that. And this ballot question doesn't address any of that. So do I want to and should we invest in those? Absolutely. Unfortunately, this doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, the change that they made to the Constitution that you alluded to in the opening statement, doesn't that solidify a guarantee that the money would go to specifically education and transportation, and there wouldn't be that wiggle room that was kind of a loophole earlier, and in other appropriations there is that loophole. There's you give the legislature a wiggle room, they can do whatever they want, right?
Yep.
But in this case, my understanding was that because it was a constitutional amendment, it was a more fixed, targeted allocation of funds.
So the monies will be allocated to education and transportation, but it will not increase spending in those areas.
I see.
So for round numbers, if the legislature comes out with a $20 billion for education and transportation, round numbers, whatever it may be, right? And we generate $1 billion from this, then it goes in, they match it with another 19, the other $1 billion that they had allocated for it goes back into the general fund, and they can spend it any way they see fit. It doesn't guarantee increase funding in transportation and education. So it just takes the place of other monies.
Right. But if they wanted to increase the transportation or the education, they could.
And they could advocate it for healthcare, and they could advocate it for childcare, and they could advocate it for mental health. They could advocate for any of the the environment, any of the number of things that the legislature allocates money towards and folks advocate for. They can spend it upon, and they can spend it in their districts, and they can spend it anywhere they want to.
Whatever comes in from this tax would have to go to education and transportation, but surplus money or other monies could be, if it comes, it can be allocated accordingly.
It'll create surplus money.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't increase it at all.
Right, unless they had it was their discretion to use it accordingly.
Which is their discretion every year, whether or not we have this ballot question or not. It's their discretion on how they spend it. And we already spend a significant amount of money. As I mentioned, we're sixth in the nation in spending in education already. We're already there.
So tell me, who is no on the Fair Share Amendment from what you can tell as the leading opponent?
Yeah, we're a coalition of over 1,000 organizations representing over 25,000 businesses and hundreds of thousands of employees across Massachusetts. Groups like the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce, the Boston Chamber of Commerce, the Western Mass Economic Development Council, the Massachusetts Farmers Bureau, Massachusetts Retailers Association. We are represented from Provincetown all the way out to the Berkshires across this Commonwealth, with folks who know that it's wrong-minded, it's the wrong time for it, it's not the right time to have this tax in Massachusetts when we have this huge surplus. We're coming out of COVID. We have supply chain issues. We have inflation. Businesses don't need this heaped on the top of them, and we need folks stalling our economy now.
Mm-hmm. Are you saying that the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce is opposed to this, as is the Boston Chamber of Commerce?
100%, yes.
Okay. And how many people from these opposing views putting in money? Where is the money coming to fund your campaign?
Yeah, we have money from a significant group of individuals. Obviously, you have to list your top 5 donors. That's the way the laws work on these ballot questions. And there are a few very wealthy individuals and businesses who've given us money because they understand that what the impact it'll be to the economy and to their employees across here. And then the other side, all of the monies come from the teachers' unions.
Again, when I was interviewing them yesterday, they said they had 500 different organizations, unions, teachers' unions, individuals.
We have hundreds as well. The lion's share of their money comes from a union. The lion's share of our money comes from a couple of well-heeled donors. That's how politics works in Massachusetts these days.
Right.
It is what it is. And we have hundreds of small donations too, same type of thing. But I don't think anybody really gets into that.
We're trying to determine who's supporting who and why.
Yeah. It's all organized labor on the other side. And the question you have to ask yourself is, What's the ROI they're looking for? Why are they investing $25 million into this? What are they going to promise their members to get back in return for the money they're spending?
Mm-hmm. Well, again, we go back to education and transportation, and all we got to do is look at the orange line, and all we got to do is look at the T. You know, it resonates with people. Like you were talking about, we're coming out of the pandemic. The test scores came out 2 days ago nationally. The test scores are down.
Yeah.
You know, there's more of a need for it. But let me ask you this. How can people find out more about your organization? What's the website? And if they want to get involved, do you guys accept donations?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Noquestion1.com is the website to join us and join with the 1,000 other folks and organizations across the state who've joined together and understand that while it might be well-intended, it's not going to increase funding for transportation and education, Jimmy. It's been proven not to be the case. They can't guarantee it. Chairman of Ways and Means was on the cover of the Globe the other day saying there's no guarantee that there'll be any increase in this because that's just not the way that it works. So, it's intended to go after the uber wealthy. The uber wealthy already domicile out of Massachusetts. The uber wealthy tax plan and spend tons of money preparing for this and planning for these things. This is going to hurt middle-class people who are retiring, who are running small businesses, who are selling small businesses, farmers in Massachusetts who are selling surplus land. That's who this is going to disproportionately affect.
Mm-hmm. But it is a 4% tax on income over $1 million. So if you have a real estate deal and you write off the cost of the house and you write off the cost of the land, and anything over $1 million in profit gets taxed at 4%. Just to be clear on it.
It's taxed at 9%, 4% more. It's taxed at 9%.
On top of 4%, right?
Yeah, 4 on top of 5. Yep, the one time in your life that you bought a house in 1972 in Central Square, and then you're looking to retire and sell it, and it went up, who knows, probably bought it for $100,000, and now it's worth a couple $1 million, and you want to retire, you want to downsize, you want to give that money to your kids and their education and what you're going to do. The one time in your life you're going to have a windfall after paying off the mortgage and working your whole life to pay for it. Now you're going to have to pay more taxes on it.
4% over $1 million in profit, right? So what's the name of the website again?
Noquestion1.com.
Noquestion1.com. Dan Cence, the lead spokesperson for No on Question 1, ladies and gentlemen. Noonquestion1.com. Dan, thanks a million for joining us. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule. You're traveling, you're in hotel rooms, crisscrossing the state.
I am, Jimmy. I am. I'm all over the place. We're going to be over soon, though. November 8th, vote no on 1. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us today. This has been a Humor for Humanity production. Our mission is your mission. Humor for Humanity at jimmytingle.com. Thank you.